All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, where Andre Ward, who seems like he kept his job at ESPN, has something to say about the Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford fight in direct contradiction to what several mainstream media outlets have had to say about the fight. And I have to tell you, I don't like admitting that I'm wrong, but I think I may have been relative to Andre Ward. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, where we will be talking about the Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford fight. But in doing so, we're going to talk about it through the lenses of Andre Ward and a major boxing publication about the fight and whether or not this fight is going to be successful, whether or not this is a fight that people want to see. And honestly, I can't believe we're having this very, very silly conversation. I swear that there are people out there in boxing that really just want it to fail. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. If you like the content, if you don't like the content, feel free to hit the thumbs down button. And also, thank you to everybody who is a constant supporter of the channel by watching the videos, longtime subscribers and the like. And again, thank you to everybody that supports the channel through the super thanks, which is a great way to sponsor this video and let me know that you like content like this and would like more of it. But let's get into the situation at hand. And that is, Andre Ward made a statement about the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight. And it's something where I have had arguments with many people on Twitter and in the comment section of the videos that have claimed that the boxing world has waited too long for this fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, and that this fight has lost its luster, and it is not what it would have been if they would have done this fight before. Some people saying, and we had a pretty heated debate about this on the live stream that we had on the channel, which you can always attend Monday through Monday at about 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes on the weekends, we may come in a little bit later, so keep your eyes open for that. Really great conversation. But in those live streams, some people said, we've been waiting on this fight for 5 years, and now the fight is past its due date. And Andre Ward said, to contradict that he thinks that it was smart that the fight actually marinated, right? And that it gave time for the fighters to fight for undisputed. For the fight when they fought to make the fight for undisputed, right? Now, however, a major boxing media outlet took exception to that and said that, and then speaking in this voice, and I'm telling you, man, it bugs me when people do this. When people say, we the boxing fans have been waiting all this time for this fight. We've wanted it 4 years ago. This is when it should have happened. Boxing fans are not happy. First and foremost, let me address this in several ways, because I'm going to tell you, Andre Ward is 100% correct about this. How long have we actually been waiting for the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford fight? Anyone that says that this fight should have been made 4 years ago neglects to realize that, number one, Errol, as far as the size of the fight and the magnitude of the fight, and by the way, I have to say this as well, Andre Ward is agreeing with Errol Spence Jr. in this particular circumstance, where Errol Spence Jr. 4 years ago had the IBF belt, and that's it. 4 years ago, Terence Crawford had the WBO welterweight belt, and that is it. That fight right there, while it would have been a great fight because people were arguing about who the best two fighters were in the division, but please remember that this was still a time not too far off of or during a time in which Keith Thurman still held two of the belts. So a fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford 4 years ago or 5 years ago could not have been claimed to have been for the top spot in the welterweight division, let alone the top spot in boxing, because you still at a certain point in time, right, had Keith Thurman that had the WBC and the WBA belt. And when Keith Thurman vacated that belt, then Sean Porter got that belt, right? So at that time, it wouldn't have been for undisputed, and you still had an undefeated Keith Thurman, who, by the way, many people, I'm not saying all people, or maybe not even most people, thought he was the best person in that division. In fact, Terence Crawford himself had said that during around that time frame that Keith Thurman was the guy he wanted to fight because Keith Thurman was the guy that was running that division. So to say that 5 years ago that it was on par with what it is now, it's just silly. And add to that, if you look at what happened with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, people said that was beyond its due date. Did it wind up being past its due date? No, it did not. And how do we know that? Because it wound up setting a record for pay-per-view buys. Now, also, Errol Spence Jr. had to go win the other belts. So, and when he was going to win the other belts, he had a car accident. After that, and people were doubting him what he would be after the car accident. What would have happened if he would have just went in there with Terence Crawford after that car accident? Right? People would have been saying, I don't even know if this guy's back, but waiting till after you see him fight Yordenis Ugas makes it a little bit more appealing. Same thing with Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford's knockout win over Sean Porter, and I suppose Kell Brook as well, because at this point, even though I don't necessarily agree with the point of view that some people have about those two fights, at least there are people that can make that argument that Terence Crawford beat two guys that Errol Spence Jr. beat, but he beat them better. So you had an opportunity to have those two fights where Terence Crawford was fighting fighters that had already been in the ring with Errol Spence, similar to the way that Manny Pacquiao did that with Floyd Mayweather Jr. And also Floyd Mayweather Jr. had beaten Juan Manuel Marquez, who had knocked out Manny Pacquiao. All of those things to go to having a fight do well. Anyway, that's my take on the matter, and I just don't understand why people. Well, I know that it's happening. It's hard for me I have my ideas about why, but it just seems like there's a lot of people that, man, you just can't be happy. Just can't take yes for an answer. A month ago, they were talking about how the fight's didn't get made and how terrible this is. And it's broken because it didn't get made. And now that it gets made, you have a bunch of people talking about it's not a big fight anymore. Just ridiculous. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think about it in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.